I'm kind of liking this much better. I had the light right above me, the neon lights right above me on. I don't know if they're neon, I think they're LEDs now. But still, it's not a comfortable lighting. It's not pleasant, and it was like really washing me out. Now it's a bit more dark somber, but I kind of like this. I think I might even put like a quote up here, something. It's something I used to do a long time ago. It was something that my dad used to do when he was a long-term substitute teacher back in the early and mid 2000s until I think his last year of like full-time subbing. When was it? 2016, 2017? I don't know, but for a long time he was a substitute teacher without actually being a teacher. Which gives you an idea of like, the teacher shortage is not a thing that is recent. Look, the teacher shortage was around when I started teaching for this school board. So I'm going to give you a recap of how I started my career. I started my career back in 1998. I started teaching in 1998. I'm coming up to, wait, what? 25, 26, 20? I started in December 1998. Yeah, December 1998. And I was working for the French board. They were looking for English teachers because my first job was teaching English as a second language. I know, go figure. My training is in French mother tongue, but I was hired as a second language teacher. So when we were at university, the professors kept on telling us that there was going to be plenty of retirements, that there will be posts opening up, and you'll see jobs will be like at your feet, like they will want to hire you. So when I started looking for postings in French mother tongue, and I sent my resume to a bunch of different schools and school boards, and everything, like all the responses that I would get were like, no thank you, right now we're not looking, I'm going, but why would the university tell us that like school boards would be looking for posts? And then I finally got a response from one school board who made me jump through hoops just to drop off my resume. Just to drop off my resume, I had to have an appointment just to drop off my resume. It's like, I don't want to speak to anyone. I just want to drop off my resume. Oh, yes, but you need an appointment to go and drop it off at Human Resources. And it made no sense to me. It made no sense that just to take a document, an envelope, and put it on some receptionist's desk, I needed an appointment. So I finally get a call back from that very board, and they wanted me to do substitution, but they didn't want me to be a substitute teacher in high schools. No, they wanted me to do subbing jobs in elementary schools. And I thought that was a bit ridiculous, because my training was in high school French, not elementary schools, high school. It's like, yeah, but everybody has to do at least a couple of subbing contracts in elementary school. And I said, ma'am, because it was a lady I was speaking to, ma'am, you're asking a farmer to go become a fisherman. They won't know what to do. And I did not know what to do. Teaching kids in elementary school is very different than teaching kids in high school. I'll be the first person to say, and forgive me, my lips are dry and I need my lip balm. So is there a niche YouTube for like putting on lip balm? I don't know. But I find like the air's dry, and I always have my Gojo pencil case. Okay, but I digress. So in the meantime, I get a call from another board who got my resume. And actually it was a school calling me because they needed a English second language teacher. And I basically was called for two things: for a one-day subbing job in French mother tongue, and then the guy who was in charge of substitution contracts and whatever, they call them techniciens en organisation scolaire. They're not admin, they're not teachers, they're professional. Well, they're professionals, they're support staff. And he said, and you're going to be starting a contract on Monday for English second language. What? So I thought that was really, really weird that I would be hired. And I find out that the principal misread my resume, thought I had a diploma in English. But I said, no, that's my TOEFL certificate. When I was 16, in grade 11, when I was in grade 11, my mom signed us up to do the Michigan TOEFL certificate. So the teaching overseas English as a foreign language. That's the acronym, TOEFL. Teaching overseas English as a foreign language. And I got it when I was 16. It was a joke. It was so easy. It was so easy. My English work when in French school was harder than the test that I did. It was like, this is a joke. This is a joke. At least for me, it was a joke. Anyway, so I got hired to teach English as a second language. And that contract allowed me to get into the board and try and find other teaching jobs, all right? But all the jobs they were offering were all like small chunks of a contract, 40%, 55%, 70%. They weren't full-time jobs. And yet, they were constantly looking for teachers. Meanwhile, fast forward 2-3 years, the English boards were looking for teachers left, right, and center. And I know I've talked about it in the past. How one board will not recognize the experience from another board. So I was lucky in the sense that the school board where I'm working at right now, back in 2001, recognized my 1 year of experience. Well, I had two and a half, but they recognized 1 year. And they were generous enough to, because now they won't even do that, at least not to my knowledge, not that I've last I've heard. And I find out they gave me a contract, and it became a tenure track position, mostly because I was nagging the principal every day that first year, but they were in desperate need of French teachers. So much so that a year later, after I got hired, one of the other French teachers had to go on sick leave. Not because of burnout or anything like that. The teacher had a pre-existing condition, and so that teacher goes on leave. And there are no teachers. And the teachers they ended up hiring were teachers from other boards who didn't like the clientele we were working with. Let's just say they were special. Love them to bits. Honestly, there's a reason why I stuck with the school and the board that I'm with. Okay, I love the students. I love the clientele. Period. They ended up calling my dad, because my dad had started subbing in other schools in the French system, hated it, didn't like the climate, and basically I said, hey, would you be interested in subbing for a French teacher? And he said, sure, why not? And he ended up becoming a somewhat permanent long-term substitution. But here's the catch. My dad's not a teacher, never got a university diploma, or at least might be hiding that information from me, but I don't think so. So it would be problematic the moment you start like trying to give him a long-term contract. You need documentation, and he didn't. And whenever the admin would say, hey, do you have any paperwork to give us? He said, no. I graduated a long time ago. I don't have the paperwork necessary for this. And the board would say, well, you can't keep them. You can't keep this guy. My dad would say, well, that's fine. Here are my keys. Have fun finding another teacher. And the principal would always try to find a way to negotiate with the board to make sure that, oh my God, we need not just French teachers, but teachers who could teach other subjects in French. And he was good with history. He always he still loves history, but he was always a fan of teaching history. And yeah, so teacher shortages are not new, and they are still ongoing. It's still a problem, and it's hard to find a solution for this. And I could speak for hours about how and maybe I'll do a live, I don't know. And I talked about it with some of my colleagues last week at the networking event. There are more and more teachers who decide to give up, to abandon teaching. There are fewer people who decide to throw themselves into teaching. And the government can talk about how, teachers need to stop poo-pooing the profession. We're not poo-pooing the profession. We're talking about it as it is. Right? We are describing the reality. We are speaking the truth. And it is hard. It is difficult. But people aren't blind either. To say that, it's great. It's awesome teaching. It's a fantastic job. It's not like 40, 50 years ago where you could hide and camouflage, some of the reality. No, thanks to media and to the sharing of information, we know exactly what's going on in the classroom today. So yeah, this is life. This is how it is. And yeah. So I don't know how your day is shaping up, but my days have been busy. They've been busy. I recently redecorated part of my room. I don't know if I'll be able to do this. It's not done, but it's fall themed. I have more leaves to put up. I have more decorations to put up. It's just I can only do it at lunch, and not all my lunches are free. Today I could continue doing it, but unfortunately I've got detention duty. So I can't be here, so I have to. No, it's not in my classroom. I wish it could be in my classroom, but it's not in my classroom. It's in another classroom. So I'll find some time to continue decorating. Maybe I'll ask my students to help. But when you have a vision, and I mentioned this. Okay, I know this video is going really long, but some of my students teased me and said, oh, you don't trust us, miss? You don't trust us? It's not a question that I don't trust y'all, okay? It doesn't happen often. When you have students who are on the same wavelength as you, it happens a few times in a teacher's lifetime. And I've had students who, I would say, You know what we could put up in that corner? Maybe if we could, and then they would say, got it, miss. And they would make it happen. Like you would just point, broadly gesture and make a couple of comments, and they knew exactly what to do. That doesn't happen often. That doesn't happen often. It happens maybe once or twice in your career, and you savor those moments. You savor those moments because they are amazing. Because there's like a collaboration between you and the students that is on another level. And I'm not there yet with these kids. Maybe next year. But I'm hoping that something could happen. But right now, I'm the one in charge of decorating, and I'm very happy with the decorating. You know, it might take me a week and a half to decorate. Oh, I'm bringing in pumpkins. And some kid like, oh, plastic pumpkins? I said, no, real pumpkins. Why real pumpkins? So my husband can make pumpkin pie afterwards. I said, like, aren't they going to spoil? Pumpkins don't work that way. Anyway. And this is where I'm going to sign off because it's been 16 minutes. And I thought I was going to be able to multitask, but I can't. I am having too much fun talking to y'all. So on that lovely note, folks, new travel mug. New travel mug because my old one was about 4 or 5 years old and the seal was coming off. The seal inside, and so it kept on leaking. And it was time. It was time. Have yourselves a lovely Wednesday. I know you might be watching it on another day, but me today, it's a Wednesday.